This is the first time we've really had a chance to speak to you since Mitkov signed and came over. I'm sure you got a chance to watch him some of the informal practices from the rookie skate, the rookie camp. What's your personal excitement level to have a guy that talented be able to coach him?
Yeah, I didn't watch. The only time I've seen him was the rookie game. I didn't watch him during the practices or anything like that. I thought he played really well in the rookie game. Lappy poured him ice time in the third period, and I thought got better and better as the game went on. You can see his skill. You can see that right away. Really, really good. His family's here. I think brother and mom, brother in school. He's picked up the language pretty quickly. Has hung with the guys for a couple of months now, which has been very important. My initial look at him, he loves playing hockey. He's a hockey player and wants to be on the ice all the time. So his energy, again, I'm not hanging with him. I don't know him that well. I really haven't. I've spoken to him 4 or 5 times in very short little spurts. But he seems like a really good kid that just wants to play hockey. So I'm really anxious to see what he is.
You've spoken, obviously, about how much you liked the room last year. How can the strong room and the strong culture aid him in his sort of journey here?
Yeah, well, I could see it on the ice today. He fought through it. The skate wasn't easy for him. Guys were trying to help him out through the skate. In my opening meeting with the players, we have a lot of work to do with our team to get where we want to be. But I'd put the room up against any team in this league as far as how that room conducted itself last year. It's one of the better rooms I've been in. And for young guys coming in, especially I know all the stuff going around me. I know there's a lot more around him. They'll help him. And that's very important for a 19-year-old kid.
John, you mentioned in past years with regards to the first day of camp that for you the skate is less about who's the fastest, but it's about who's pushing hard when they have to, when it gets tough. Did you come away satisfied with the compete level of the group on the first day today?
Yeah, I think it's it's year 3 with this coaching staff. I think they know. I think it's effective in what we do with this here because we hang it right over their head during the summer, right? No, we got so many good athletes in our league. No one wants to be embarrassed in these skates, so they do the work. And I think it's gotten better and better as we've done this here. There were some guys that struggled, but there weren't many people that didn't finish, and that's the key for me was just making sure they finished the skate. So I thought. A lot of people say he's an idiot. He doesn't have pucks on the ice. This, that, the other thing. It's an effective way for me to judge where people are at and judge the camaraderie of what we're trying to do here. And I thought it was a good first day.
With Mitchkov, Danny talked the other day about how important he felt it was for you to be able to coach him this early in his career because you're as much of a teacher of the game as you are a coach. Where are some of the aspects of the game that you want to work on teaching Mitkov to get him to be a more well-rounded, a pro NHL player?
Well, one of the biggest responsibilities of a coaching staff, not just me, of a coaching staff, is to teach young players away from the puck. I'm not going to sit and go over tape as far as offensive stuff with him. I'm going to hopefully sit back and watch him do some really good things. But the other part of the game, that's a big responsibility of ours, is to teach that. Not just me, but the coaching staff. So that is one of them. And the other, the one most important to me right away with a 19-year-old kid, is just understand how you carry yourself. Understand what it is to be a pro. Understand the standard of our performance center downstairs, that how you handle yourself there. All the things no one really talks about because it's really not on the ice sometimes. It's the other stuff. Those are important things for us to teach him. And I think he's, so far, I think he's very receptive. I think he has handled himself really well in a pretty intense situation for a kid that's 19. Coming across, coming early. there's just a lot of things going on around him. I think he's handled himself really well so far.
John, at the end of last season, you talked about how maybe the messaging wasn't right down the end, and you were going to be processing over the summer and evaluating how things went towards the end of the year. How was your process over the summer? How did you evaluate things, and what are you maybe carrying into this year?
Yeah, I think. Are you talking about the end of the year,
yeah,
Jackie?
You said, was the messaging right at certain times? A lot of things that run through my mind as a coach when you're that close.
Yeah.
You've got to evaluate over the summer.
Yeah, my biggest regret, and is I don't think we played well enough in the areas at the end of the year. I think I said that to you guys at the end of the year. I don't think I put enough time into that. And as coaches always talk about, come late in the year, that neutral zone shuts down. I think we were probably one of the best transition teams in the league, right? And you kind of, I think my blinders were on in watching us play that quickly and quite well. I think we struggled finishing, but we created a lot of offense off transition. I did not do a good enough job in making sure we can play another way at a certain time of the year. I think that hurt us. And I thought our goaltending, it struggled, and rightfully so. And as I said, it's not to blame Urs. I wore him out. But at that point in time, that was the decision we made. We felt he was the best one to give us an opportunity, and it was kind of force-fed to him, and that hurt us. So a combination of both things. But the one that has bothered me all summer is I think I let the team down, and I didn't put enough effort or enough focus into rebounds, deflections, playing under the hash, and creating offense through some grind when we needed it. We can talk about our goaltending. It struggled at the end of the year. We didn't score any goals either, and that's why you end up whatever we were. So that falls on me, and that's something I've thought about, and it's going to be a point of emphasis this year as we start.
Even though you've been doing this for a couple of years now as a head coach, I mean, it's still a learning process for you over the summer, and it almost
absolutely
training for the season for yourself.
Every year, no matter what, if you're a head coach and you're not trying to evolve, it could get ugly really quick. Like with this team here, it's year 3, right? The way I look at it, it's year 3 in our program. Year 3 with the same coaching staff. A lot of the team here this year, a big part of it is we've had. I think and it's going to be a big part of our foundation this year. Do they get comfortable with us? Sometimes it's human nature that you just give a little bit because now they know us, we know them. And I love the team, and I've told them that. As we talked about the room has been fantastic. But I've got to watch. Do you just give a bit, or am I leaving them alone too much at certain times because I trust them? I have to coach them differently, right? I've had them 3 years. I have to respect that they've improved. So coaching changes. How much does it change, and when does it change? Those are all the things that run through my head right now. Year 3 is such an important year in a program because of human nature. We know one another now, and you don't want to cheat, but you kind of give sometimes. And sometimes maybe, I know them, I don't need to lean on them. Those are the things I've got to coach myself and coach with the team.
To follow up on that, this is year 3. The first year was kind of that weaning out year of finding who you wanted to go with.
Yep.
Last year was that building block. Is there an expectation or a vision of what you want to accomplish or see this team do?
Yeah, year 1 was we need to subtract, right? We subtracted people, really good people. Do not misjudge what I'm saying here. They did not fit with our hockey club, but really good people that we subtracted. Last year was kids, developing kids, and our kids grew. I wish we could have played a few more games. We didn't, and it's something the coaching staff and them have to, just learn from. This year, no free agents, right? Misha's the only one coming in. We don't have any money. We won't have money next year. Now the kids have got to get better. They grew. We've got to ask to be better. All of us have to be better because this is kind of our group. There may be a couple of guys here and there, depending on what happens in camp. I'm anxious to see some of these exhibition games that change something. But a lot of our lineup is going to be a lot like last year. So we have to get better, and because there's no help coming free agency. Not for a couple of years. It's just where we are as an organization. And quite honestly, I'm glad it's that way. Because I think when you think you need a free agent now, you forget about the process of building. We still have a lot of work to do in growing with our youth. So this year is, okay, Tip, Forrester, Cam York, all those guys, and those to name a few, we're really happy with your progression, but it's not good enough. We got to keep on getting better. And that includes the coaching staff in how we coach, as I was just explaining to Jackie. We have to do things differently also. You can't keep on being the same guy. We have to evolve as a coaching staff, teach our same principles, but maybe in a different way of messaging to make sure we're on top of things.
John, going back, 2 more questions.
To what you said about a few minutes ago about the style, about how, and maybe the latter part of the year that you guys maybe weren't good enough in the harder areas. Last season, you guys made a pretty significant stylistic shift.
Yes.
More of a transition game.
Yes.
Should we expect another big shift this year, or is there going to be more tweaks?
No, I think it's in a general term, I think it's knowing how to play different ways too, and that's eaten me alive this summer. That we couldn't score goals. We couldn't help Urs, who was we knew Urs was struggling, and we knew the situation we were in with our goaltending situation, but we couldn't help him. And I felt the head coach let the team down in not highlighting how we need to score other goals. So that certainly comes into play. We're playing fast. We're going to continue to play fast. We're not going to be safe. We're going to continue to work at that. Finishing is a very important thing. I think we had one of the lowest, whatever you guys call it. I don't know what that BPO. What do you guys call that shit? I don't know. What is it called? I don't know. It's the goals against and shooting percentage, and you come up with some damn number. I don't know. They told me some numbers, and we need to score too, because I know we're one of the best teams transition-wise in creating offense, but we didn't finish. We need to find a way to finish. And I think guys that scores 15 goals needs to score 18, 19, 20 goals. We very rarely get deflection goals last year. There's just not many. We're not around there enough. I think that has to change a little bit without losing our transition. So it's a combination of both, and and then feeling your team. See where we're at. See where guys are at. Are there other things we can do? Other offensive concepts we can bring in? Sure, we're ready. But how much do we give them too? So those are all things we'll talk about as we get going and playing.
And how do you balance that? You don't want to lose the good of the transition game, but you want them to be able to play a little bit harder when they have to.
Big part of our job is defining momentums. Defining of. See, I don't think we practiced enough around our goal, as doing things around our net, deflections and rebounds and playing on the inside. I don't think it's taken away from anything from transition. I think it's how the game is going. You got to be able to play in there sometimes. And if it's one of those grinding games, we got to be able to stand in there and do that. I don't think we did a good enough job of that. And I think it falls on me, because I don't think I put enough emphasis on that, because I was watching so many good things go on with our transition.
Shawn Thornton mentioned his injury that he had worked on this offseason came about like in December-ish. It's no secret his play dipped. How excited are you that Tortorella feels good now, and do you think he can sustain that for a full season?
I hope so. Yeah, I don't think the injury had anything to do. I don't know as far as his play and all that. Shawn and I talked about that all year long. We always checked in with him. I just think it was a struggle in his play. I watched him today, and when we were doing it, I watched him the first 2 reps, and I said, "Oh shit," because it looked like he was going to die pretty quickly, and he fought through it. He fought through it and finished the proper way. Jamie Drysdale did the same thing. Mitkov, the first one, he gave in on it. I went over and told him, I just gave him a couple of words of advice that you've got to finish the skate. He did it. I was encouraged in some of the things. Yorkie barely got through the end, our last skate there, but he was better than last year. Yeah, so with Shawn, I think he's ready to go. I think he's in a good mindset. I don't think Shawn will ever use last year with his play as he was nicked up, because we check with him all the time. He wanted to play. I think of for him and Jamie getting things straightened out, I think it helps you mentally, and hopefully he'll bring that right into the season.
Last one.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, if you were to do the skates, do you have a method maybe, like not to start out too quick, or talk about like finishing, or?
No. There's no method. You go as hard as you can, as long as you can, and as long as you can. Like you see Rizzo at the end. I mean, his strides were this big. Like I said, like I tell him before the skate, I don't care what it looks like. I really don't give a shit about the times. I just want you to finish the skate. I don't want you to give in. And I watched Rizzo out there. He was, Cam Atkinson was one of the worst for me, but Rizzo was even worse than him because his strides were about that big. But he finished, so that's high marks for me. Yorkie finished. Yorkie kind of teetered again this year, but found a way to get through it. You may think it's silly, but those are things I look for. I think it's really important you find out about people.